What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. So, before we move any further, next week, the next update for DD2 is coming. We do not have a specific date yet. The target is to get it delivered to all platforms on next week at some point, though. Additionally, trading is currently down. There was some issues with trading and caused the Sploity boys to go a little overboard, of course, and this means that trading is temporarily disabled in Dungeon Defenders 2. Now, trading will be back online as soon as they can get things resolved. No target on that either, other than as soon as possible. Now let's hop right on into the update itself. Now this will be a long video, so there will be timestamps down below. Feel free to bounce on through and check out the various chapters. First things first, there are some massive character reworks coming. First one is with the Initiate. The Initiate is basically got a full defensive rework. And we all know that the Water Aura was already previously in the game. The Initiate is now a hero of her own and not just a monk gender swap, meaning that every single aspect of the loadout for the Initiate is now 100% different than the monk. First things first, let's start off with the Firework Cannon. Now, I've got just a bunch of rando stuff on here. You see, I've actually got Boost, Blockade, and Ripley Explosions. Don't look at any of the damage numbers or anything being done. This is just all trash gear that was just sitting on the character. Same thing with Ascension. I've got no Ascension points applied anywhere. Got a few stragglers here and there, but this is not to be looked at as far as damage output or for doing any calculations. Now, as you saw there, the Boost Aura on the Initiate is being replaced with the Firework Cannon Tower. The Firework Cannon Tower is pretty darn cool. It shoots multiple projectiles and gives an AoE blast. One important thing to note about the Firework Tower is it does indeed hit flying lanes as well, so it will be effective for ground or flying mobs, whichever you choose to use those on. That is the Firework Tower. Now remember, with all of these new towers, there will assumably be new shards to go along with them. A few of the shards got showed off, and we will show those here today. However, we won't be going through everything in the update, and you will have to tune in to the patch notes that will be available when the update launches next week. But we got a Fireworks Tower. Now, another important thing to note, you see that is the Fire Element. So the Fireworks Tower is indeed dealing fire damage by default, so you will not be able to add an element to this to change it from a fire. Moving right on to the next one, we've got the Chi Spirit Tower. The Chi Spirit Tower is a ghost of the Initiate doing the Chi Blast, or the Initiate's version of the Chi Blast. This is pretty darn cool, really. It's, as you see, it is piercing targets. Currently, it's doing no damage because I do have my Ascension into it for range gambit, yet I've got no defense power on it. So that is the Chi Spirit. Now, there was a shard that was shown off for this one, and that is the Spirit Charge. Increases the damage of the Chi Spirit Tower by 20%, and increases the projectile size by 40%. So good stuff there. If we go ahead and throw that down, that is the Chi Spirit with the shard added in. So a little bit of a larger projectile. You see with that 20% damage increase, it's now actually doing damage now because it is going over the range gambit in Ascension. So the Chi Spirit Tower, so piercing projectile, looks kind of interesting, really. Will be fun to play around with. And then one that has definitely got many hopes up, and that is the Frost Strikes Aura. The Lightning Strike Aura is gone and being replaced by the Frost Strikes Aura. One thing I did forget to show, though, the Chi the Chi Spirit Tower is not attuned to an element, meaning you will be able to set this as an elemental priority. So if you wanted to do fire damage, you can throw a fire mod. If you wanted to do earth damage, you can throw on an earth mod, etc. Not set or attuned to any particular element there. Now, looking on over at our Frost Strikes Aura, this one is frost damage. Once again, it is not going off and doing any damage because I don't have enough power to make up for the range gambit that's in there. We'll just go ahead and throw some in just to tease it out. Why not? Let's go ahead and get some Ascension in there, and we can see that it is doing frost damage. Now remember, since this is doing frost damage, this will proc the freeze combo. So if an enemy is drenched, per se, by a water aura, and then the Frost Strikes Aura goes off, it will freeze that target. Now, we don't know how this is going to, or what shards or mods are going to come along with this one yet. However, we do know right now it's single target, which would not make it a very good form of crowd control, since it's only hitting one enemy at a time. However, if some of the old Lightning Strike Aura stuff that does turn it to multiple targets comes into play, then we will have another, which should be pretty respectable combo to play around with. The Frost Strikes Aura, of course, once again, is replacing the Lightning Strikes Aura. Now moving on along to the Adept. Same thing here. I actually do have a relic on the Tesla coil. Actually, do we want to move this stuff around? Let me see. What do I have Ascension points in? I hate to have it do absolutely nothing. I don't have any Ascension there. We can just throw any random relic on there just to get a little bit of power transfer. Boy, this one's been sitting for a long time, huh? So we've got, once again, a complete rework. So we've already got the Flame Burst Tower, which is different from the Apprentice's Flamethrower Tower. The Tesla Coil is going to be a 50 DU defense. It hits up to 10 targets, so it will chain to 10 different targets. And it is replacing the Arcane Barrier. So this one I'm actually kind of excited about. The Tesla Coil Tower could be extremely fun to play around with. There was a mod that was teased for this one on the stream. I will give you a look at the mod here that was shown on the stream. But there will be mods and shards, of course, coming with the Tesla Coil. Now, once again, we've already got the Hailstorm Tower, which is different from the Frostbite Tower. And to round out the defensive kit, we've got the Crystal Hammer Tower. The Crystal Hammer Tower has a pretty cool elemental effect. This one, of course, is replacing the Earth Shatter Tower. Now, I personally think this would have been glorious if this came out as frost damage. However, as you see, it is still attuned to earth damage, so it will be doing earth damage to enemies. However, it looks pretty darn cool, right? Not too shabby. So taking a look at the path, it's long range, but a super thin path, so targeting will be quite important. And that brings us along to one of the shards that was shown off on this particular tower, and that is the Grand Fissure. Increases the width of Earthen Hammer Fissure by 50% and increases the defense damage by 29%. So you get a damage and a width increase by using that one. Let's go ahead and pop it in here, and we will check it out with the increased width. Now, the width is not shown on the indicator as you place it down. However, if we look at it from the side view here, it will be hitting multiple targets now. Let's throw it right on that middle dummy there. And then as we see, it's actually hitting all the way over to this one. So definitely a nice width increase on that particular shard and getting a damage increase out of it. So without a doubt, you are going to be wanting to play around with the Grand Fissure Shard for this Crystal Hammer Tower and defense. Now moving right along to the Mystic. The Mystic got some pretty big changes, one of them being Appeasement. We know the appeasement buffs that show up above, depending on how much appeasement the Mystic has, this is going to be getting changed. So at 1% appeasement, so having any appeasement at all, you're going to get an increase to all of the Mystic's stats. At 25% appeasement, you're going to get a lifesteal associated with her attacks. At 50% in appeasement, you're going to get a cooldown reduction of all of the Mystic's abilities. And then at 100% appeasement, the Mystic is going to be emanating AoE damage and get a run speed increase. So the appeasement level of the Mystic will directly affect the Mystic with a little bit more clarity. Now, in addition to this, the Lash Out ability was changed, so going to be a little bit different there. Lash Out is now going to be getting a bit of a buff. Now, Call to Madness is actually getting a little bit of a mini nerf. The number of targets that it hits is going to be reduced, where previously it would CC everything in the lane. The amount of targets is now going to be set to a target limit on Call to Madness. Not really a huge aspect, as of course, as long as you have one enemy that's got the madness, then the other enemies are going to attack it. Still going to be an incredible form of crowd control. Now, the Mystic is now getting a full-on fit defense. She always had one with the Serpent's Coil, but now it is an actual defense. It's going to cost DU to place it, so they're no longer free, but additionally, you're going to be able to upgrade those as well to create a more powerful defense. Once again, I have nothing equipped to give this more power, and that's why it is doing 0 damage there. Now, in addition to this being a normal tower, this also means this tower now has collision. So since it has collision, it can be destroyed, meaning it's going to be like a regular old tower. If you put it out there in front of some enemies that are going to hit towers, this one is going to get destroyed. Now, the Sand Viper Tower is getting an interesting change. Let me make sure I got nothing equipped there. I do not. The Sand Viper is now going to be hitting 3 targets by default. So you're now going to get 3 beams without having a shard. Now, when using the shard, it is going to be the exact opposite of what it used to be. So it is always going to be 3 targets by default. However, if you use the shard, instead of increasing the targets, it is now going to be focused at Vipers, which is going to reduce the number of beams of the Sand Viper, but it is going to increase the defense damage by a fairly large amount. Take a look at one Gilded here. Gilded, it's going to be a 90% increase to defense damage done. So it is the reverse. You get now something that reduces the number of targets, but makes it hit like an absolute truck. Now, there's some additional tweaks and some things going with the Mystic. We'll have to check those out on update launch day. Now, moving right along to the EV. The EV, they teased this one already, now has flight. Similar to like the Dryad or the Gun Witch. If you double jump, which now the EV can double jump by default, and you hold your jump, that is going to initiate flight, and you're going to be able to float around. You can exit out of that. I saw that one mentioned in the comments of the dev stream, just like you could any of the other flight patterns. So by default, the EV now has double jump and now has a form of constant flight that you can use at any time. So what does this do for death from above? Well, it makes the decoy a bit more effective, and instead of launching up, it launches you back. So it's going to give you a launch backwards. You can actually probably get some pretty good air with this thing here. Let's check it out. And it takes you out of the immediate combat range. So it's still an escape. You can still use it as you used to use it. However, now you're going to get the EV's flight for absolute free, just for using the EV2. Now, in my opinion, the most interesting change for the EV is none of that. It's the grab bots. Grab bots are fun as hell. However, it's always been quite tedious to go and set grab bots up. Grab bots are now going to track to an enemy. I think I'm using Big Boy in there, and that's what that first one is. But if we throw a grab bot, say, over here, it's going to track over to the nearest enemy. So grab bots could be pretty cool. It's something that's going to be worth using here. You see it just tracks right over to the nearest enemy. So super cool stuff there with the EV2 and the grab bots. Really looking forward to that one. Now the Lavamancer is getting some changes. The alternate attack on the Lavamancer, the charge that you could use, you are now going to penetrate through enemies. So you're not going to hit a first enemy and collide. If you use the Lavamancer's charge now, you will go through the entire pack of enemies, dealing damage to all of them. Additionally, Hardened and Inflamed were changed, so it's now combined into one ability. So you get the benefits of Hardened and Inflamed just by turning the buff on, and it's going to be a buff instead of something that you would toggle back and forth in between. Now there's going to be some new skins, 4 new skins coming into the game, and first up we've got the Clockwork Squire. In addition to the Clockwork Squire, we've got the Wind Guardian Lavamancer. Then we've got the Scarab Lord, Abyss Lord. And we've got the Marauder Apprentice. Now, as these skins do theme, there is a new desert area, and that is Tornado Valley. These are 2 of the maps from Dungeon Defenders Awakened that have been brought in to Dungeon Defenders 2 and have Dungeon Defenders 2 variants. Now, we've got 2 different maps, Tornado Canyon, which is Tornado Valley from DDA, and then Tornado Highlands. Now, Tornado Highlands is going to have a boss, the Genie King, so we will be getting a new major boss into Dungeon Defenders 2, and with that, we'll drop all of boss-type fancy loot. Now, we can't look at the boss here today, but we can jump in and take a look at Tornado Canyon. And here is a Dungeon Defenders 2 variant of Tornado Canyon. You see we've got sub-objectives up top. They are all the way around. We've got our main cores on the inside. We've got yet another sub-objective over here. And this is, it's Tornado Valley from DDA, now available in DD2. Now, with the new region, of course, is going to become a new mini-boss. So there's, first off, a new enemy which is the Wind Shaper. It's an enemy that's going to shoot piercing tornadoes at you from range. And then there is a mini-boss version of this, the Tornado Forger. This is just a mini-boss version of the Wind Shaper. Now, as I mentioned, the Tornado Highlands map is going to have the Genie King boss. We're going to have to wait until the update to get more info on that. However, we do know that this particular boss is going to be dropping, or have the chance of dropping, a new pet. The new pet is going to be the Genie Prince. The Genie Prince's special ability is going to be Mana Swirl. Restores 500 ability mana with a 30-second cooldown. So if you are wanting a hero that you're able to pop an additional 500 ability mana every 30 seconds, then the Genie Prince will be one for you. Now, it was teased that there will be a second version of the Genie Prince. Don't know for sure, but only going to assume that that might be a golden variant. However, the Genie Prince is the new pet that will be coming associated with the Genie King boss. And then, last but not least, the Black Market Dealer will be replacing the vanity item, the fancy golden top hat, with a golden mask. So this item will be going away, and the golden mask will be coming in. Now, one thing that lots of people I know were really excited about, and that is Chaos 10. Now, Chaos 10 is not going to be in this update. It was not confirmed whether Chaos 10 will be coming in the future. However, we would only expect, due to all of the teases throughout this year, that maybe we can expect Chaos 10 in an update later on in 2022. So no Chaos 10 this patch, however, plenty of stuff and things to do. Now, this is not the full extent of the update. There will be more tweaks, changes, bug fixes, etc. We'll have to wait for the patch notes on update launch day next week to read through the full enchilada. But that will do it for now. Thanks an absolute ton for watching, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.